Dr. Houston, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
We have had some really good conversations about working for the church as a woman and where how our backgrounds have brought us to this point. And I'm really excited for you to share your story. I think you are an inspiration, and you really do witness your faith in your work. And so I'm glad that we're able to be here and sit and have more people learn more about your story. So thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So on that note, tell us a little bit about your background, your home life as a child, and what brought you to this kind of point in your life.
So I grew up in Lower Plaquemines Parish in Boothville, Venice, which is a little bitty town. With one side of our highway, we have the Mississippi River, and then the other side we have the Gulf of Mexico. So I grew up in a faith-filled family. It seemed like every time the church doors opened, we were there. Whether it was for choir rehearsal or cleaning the church or for mass or whatever meeting my mother was attending or activity or ministry we were involved in. And, you know, I thank God every day for the gift of my faith that was handed down through generations in our family, because that is truly what sustains me and has shaped me to be who I am today. And we didn't have a lot as far as resources go, and we didn't have a Catholic school in our area, but we did have a family who was devoted to the faith in our church, and we spent a lot of time in service and in ministry.
And I like that you brought up, you know, your family was there, but you point blank said your mom. You know, your mom was at this meeting, your mom was at that meeting, and as women, as Catholic women, and we're going to talk about our professional lives later, but our role and our vocation to pass on the faith. How did your mom play that role with you and your grandmother?
So I was blessed to be in a house in a family filled with faith-filled women and devout women who found it important to pass along the faith and to show us that this is the most important thing in your life, and this is what is going to shape you and direct your path throughout life. Not that the men in my family were not religious or not important, but I spent most of my time with the women in our families. My mother was a member of a prayer group. They met once a month at each other's houses, and of course they'd bring all the kids and we'd play, but we witnessed our parents, our mothers particularly, delving into scripture and reflecting and supporting one another, and I am so grateful for that example. And there are tons of examples throughout my life for that I can look back to see when I'm in a situation, particularly a storm or a difficulty, that I can think back to an example of how a woman in my family handled something similar as I was growing up, and I was able to witness that, and now I can use that in my own life.
And you do witness. I have seen you witness not only your professionalism and your skill as an educator and in educational administration, but also your faith. And you so beautifully, I think, bring the two together. And obviously your background led you to this point, but you could have been an educator anywhere. Yes. You could have been in administration anywhere. You have a doctorate. Why the church? Why Catholic education?
Because God called, and I answered yes. You know, one of my desires in life has always been to be like Mary, to say yes when he calls and to be his handmaid, to do his will with my life, because it is a gift from him. So I taught in public school, and I had a desire to pursue doctoral studies, and I felt a longing and a calling for something more than teaching in public school, middle school. So I've told this story a couple of times, how I ended up at University of Holy Cross. I saw an ad in the paper, and I thought, they're not going to hire me. I'm just starting my doctoral program. I was like maybe 3 or 4 semesters in. My husband and I talked about it, and he encouraged me, and I said, no, I don't think that they'll consider me. He sent my application, my resume, and a cover letter via mail. It was a long time ago. And I got a call from the chair of the search committee, Dr. Joe Macaluso, who I still talk to today. And he said, I want to set up an interview with you. And I'm like, what? Wait, who are you? And where are you? And so I hang up the phone, and my husband's just standing there smiling. And I'm like, seriously? So anyway, long story short, I ended up at the University of Holy Cross, and I was there in the education department for 12 years. It wasn't until I got there that I realized, I felt like I was finally at home. To be able to minister to my students, to be able to fellowship with my colleagues, to be able to talk openly and pray openly in class, it really was a beautiful thing. And then circumstances led me to leave to pursue a position at Southeastern, which was beautiful. I loved my colleagues and my students, but as I'm working and talking to students and find them in crisis, I can't say to them, let me pray with you. I can't walk them to the counseling center where I know that they're going to receive godly counsel and be supported and directed in a pastoral way. So I felt that longing come back. And then I get a phone call as I'm praying and discerning what's next. I get a phone call that Dr. Lancaster was hiring for the Office of Catholic Schools. Would I be interested in applying for a position? And I said, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to be an administrator. I just want to teach. Yeah. Okay. When God calls, you even reluctantly say yes. Yeah. And here I am eventually in this position. It is saying yes.
So maybe not the angel Gabriel trumping horns, but phones ringing.
Yes, nudges here and there, little nuggets picked up in sermons and conversations, and yes, being receptive. And
you are an administrator. Mm-hmm. You are in a major leadership position within the Catholic Church, and so often people forget about the role of women in administration. And we are so blessed here in the Archdiocese of New Orleans to have some really extraordinary women.
Yes, we are.
At the policy table. For you, and I'm going to be very colloquial, from a little girl from Boothville, Venice, what does that mean to be able to witness like that?
It means everything. But again, I go back to my childhood and I think about the women that ran our church. It was the women who organized everything, who cleaned the linens, who set the altar, who decorated the church. The men cut the grass and did, those things. And I know that's very stereotypical, but the women in my church community were the leaders in our community, in addition to and alongside our pastor. So the concept of women leading in ministry is not foreign to me. It's what I grew up in. So for me, it felt natural. But it is such a blessing. I am so grateful to be where I am today, to be a part of the ministry of the church, to advance the mission of the church, to share my story and my faith with others, and to evangelize and catechize. It's almost too good to be true. It comes with its challenges, though. Of
course.
You know that, but it's more of a blessing than anything.
And we wouldn't be real if, speaking of challenge, we didn't talk about the fact as roles as lay women and a professional lay women in church ministry. We're also moms,
yes,
wives.
Yes.
How does that work into your ministry and your witness, your role, your first vocation as wife?
I think you have probably witnessed that firsthand. Being a wife and a mother is, as the Archbishop reminds me all the time, my most important and my first ministry, and it is. I am blessed to have a husband who supports what I do and believes in our ministry and our work. And and a family support system to help me to be a good mother and to work in this capacity, because without that I wouldn't be able to juggle everything, and it's still difficult at times, but I know that, and my family knows, and we believe in what I am doing, and so they are always there to support me in my work.
Well, I hope you know that I am grateful for your witness, and there are many others who are grateful for your witness, and that you have chosen to use your gifts and talents in service to the local church and really the children of our archdiocese. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.